The signal came in late at night, flickering through layers of static and silence. It was weak, barely holding together, but Eli heard it. He sat alone in the small control room on Ganymede Station, eyes tired from hours of scanning empty space. Then, a voice cracked in desperate cut through the noise. "If anyone can hear this, please, we need help." Eli leaned forward, fingers pausing over the console. He adjusted the gain, trying to clear the sound. The voice belonged to a woman. She sounded afraid. "This is Maggie Ellis from New Carson Colony. We don't have much time. Something's here." A burst of static followed. Then silence. Eli stared at the screen. New Carson was far out, near the edge of human space. No one checked in on them often. They were small, quiet, and remote. If they were calling for help, it had to be bad. He pulled up the last known data on New Carson. Nothing unusual. Farming, mining, maybe a few hundred people living off-world. Peaceful. But now? Gone silent. Eli sent the recording to Earth Command just in case. He added a note, urgent, possible distress call. He didn't expect a reply. Earth Command never cared about the Edge colonies unless there was money or politics involved. He was right. No response came. On Earth, in the capital city of New Atlanta, Senator Lisa Green read the report with little interest. She was more worried about the upcoming vote than some lost signal from the outer systems. Beside her, General Ryan Brooks frowned. "We should send someone," he said. "To check on a single call?" she asked. "We've got bigger problems." Brooks nodded, but he wasn't convinced. Something felt wrong. Weeks passed. Then days became months. New Carson stayed dark. But not all of humanity ignored the call. Far from Earth, aboard the patrol ship Dauntless, Captain Nora Lang reviewed the same message. She sat in her quarters, staring at the name on the screen. Maggie Ellis. Nora had grown up hearing stories about the Edge colonies. Rough places, tough people. If Maggie was still alive, she would need help. Nora stood, made her decision. Set course for New Carson. She told her crew. They looked surprised. "That's deep." "Space," said one. "I know." She replied. And so, while Earth turned away, one ship sailed into the unknown, chasing a voice lost among the stars. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The Dauntless moved through space like a whisper, silent and unseen. Weeks passed as it traveled beyond known borders, chasing the last voice from New Carson Colony. The crew was small, just enough to keep the ship running. Among them was Eli, now aboard after requesting transfer. He wanted to know what had happened. So did Captain Nora Lang. When they arrived, there was no signal, no life signs. Only silence. The colony was gone. What remained were ruins. Broken buildings, blackened ground, and strange symbols carved into stone pillars that looked older than human space travel. Nothing moved except wind and dust. "This isn't right," said Maya, the ship's tech expert. "These markings, they're not human." Nora stepped forward, boots crunching on ash. She scanned the area with her visor. Heat traces were long gone. Whoever lived here was gone for good. Eli knelt near one of the stones. He touched the carvings with gloved fingers. "It's like writing," he said, "but I don't recognize it." Maya took pictures with her pad. Later, she would try to translate. For now, they had to be careful. This place felt wrong. Back on the Dauntless, the crew worked fast. Data was collected, samples stored. Eli found something hidden in the old signal Maggie had sent. Buried under static was a fragment of text. It read, "They are not gods. They are not gone. They will return." Those words chilled him. He showed them to Nora. "You think this has something to do with what happened here?" she asked. "Maybe," Eli said. But if they're coming back, then where have they been? Nora didn't answer. She stared at the screen, reading the message again. Later that night, while most of the crew slept, Maya sat alone in the lab. She played the signal once more. Faint voices whispered behind the noise, speaking in a language no one understood. Then, for a second, the screen flickered. Something watched them. From deep space, far beyond the edge of the system, a light blinked. Not a star. Not a ship. Something else. Something awake. Nora stood on the bridge, looking out at the dark. She felt it too. The weight of something watching, waiting. Set course back to Earth, she said. We need to warn them. But even as the Dauntless turned home, the light in the void stayed on. And it was getting closer. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The Dauntless was halfway back to Earth when the first attacks began. It started with a broken message from Mars Command. Then silence. Soon, reports flooded in from across human spaceships vanishing, colonies going dark, entire cities burning in firestorms no one could explain. Something had arrived. Nora watched the chaos unfold on every screen. The enemy came. Without warning or words. Massive ships, sleek and black, dropped from unseen jumps in space. They moved fast and struck harder. No flags, no names, only destruction. Identify them, Nora ordered. Maya worked quickly, pulling what little data they had from New Carson. After a moment, she looked up. They match the symbols we found, she said. Whatever this is, it's connected. On Earth, panic spread like fire. President Carson tried to rally the military, but it was too late. The enemy hit Earth's orbital stations first, cutting off communications and defense lines. People ran into shelters while skies burned red. The invaders called themselves the Vayari. Their message was clear. Kneel or die. Videos played across every channel. A tall figure, wrapped in flowing armor, spoke in a voice that echoed like thunder. You live on stolen ground. You crawl among stars that were never yours. Submit or be erased. Nora clenched her fists as she watched the broadcast. She had seen what they did to New Carson. Now they were doing it to everyone. We have to fight, Eli said. We don't stand a chance, Maya replied. Not like this. The Dauntless flew through the ruins of a shattered fleet near Jupiter. Bodies floated in space. Ships burned without end. Survivors were few. Nora picked up what she could: pilots, soldiers, engineers, and gave them a place aboard. Among them was Danny, a pilot who lost his wing in the first strike. He stared at the stars like they had betrayed him. They're not just attacking. U.S., he said. They're cleaning house. Nora knew he was right. This wasn't war. It was something worse. It was judgment, and the Vayari had already decided the verdict. As the Dauntless fled toward Earth's last safe zone, Nora made a choice. They couldn't win a battle. Not yet. But maybe, just maybe, they could survive long. Enough to learn how Earth was falling. Smoke rose from every major city. Power grids failed. Transport lines collapsed. People ran through the streets, some looking for shelter, others searching for loved ones lost in the fire and ash. President Carson stood in the underground command center beneath New Atlanta. He watched as reports came in. Mars was gone, the Jupiter stations were destroyed, and the last defense line had been broken. He refused to kneel. We do not surrender, he said, voice steady even as alarm screamed around him. But the Vayari did not care about pride or politics. They sent a final message, one last planet to fall. The attack came fast. Orbital weapons rained down like comets, striking military bases, cities, spaceports. The Vayari fleet hovered above the northern hemisphere, casting a dark shadow over everything. Below. Carson gave the order, send all ships into deep space. Scatter, survive, His generals hesitated, but there was no other choice. What little remained of the human fleet launched in desperation. Most never made it out. Those that did fled in different directions, each hoping to live another day. Among them was the Dauntless. Nora Lang stood on the bridge, watching Earth shrink behind them. She saw the glow of burning continents, the silent flashes of bombs hitting home. She clenched her jaw. "Set course for the outer systems," she said. No one spoke. They all knew what they had just left behind. Weeks passed in silence. The survivors gathered where they could, hidden bases, abandoned mining stations, forgotten moons. The once proud United Terran Republic was now a scattering of refugees and soldiers with nowhere to go. Maya worked non-stop, trying to piece together more about the Ve'ari. Eli helped her, going through old data from New Carson and the signal Maggie had sent. "They're not just conquerors," Maya said one night. "They were here before us, long before." "You think they built the ruins?" Eli asked. "Maybe," she replied. "And maybe someone stopped them before." Nora listened from across the room. She had seen enough to know this war wasn't just about survival. It was about something older. Something buried in time. Danny sat near the window, staring at the stars. "So what now?" he asked. Nora looked at her crew, tired, scared, but still here. "Now," she said, "we find a way to fight back." In the cold silence beyond human space, survivors gathered like ghosts. They came from broken ships, hidden stations, and lost colonies. Pilots, soldiers, engineers, and scientists, each one a thread in what was left of humanity's fabric. Called themselves the Scattered Fleet. The Dauntless became its heart. Captain Nora Lang did not ask for command, but it found her anyway. She kept them moving, kept them alive, and slowly gave them something else. Hope. But hope alone could not win a war. On a small moon orbiting a dead gas giant, Maya worked inside a makeshift lab carved from old mining tunnels. She spread data across every screen, chasing answers buried in the past. "We're looking at this wrong," she said to Eli one night. "The Ve'ari think they're coming home, but someone stopped them before." Eli leaned closer. "You think it was another race?" "Or something else," she replied. "Something that fought back." Meanwhile, Danny flew patrols with an old fighter he had rebuilt himself. He named it Hawk and over time treated it like a friend. He spoke to it like it understood him. Maybe it did. One day, while scanning deep space, he picked up a signal. Weak, strange, not human. He brought it back to Maya. She ran it through every filter, then stared at the screen in shock. "This isn't just data," she whispered. "It's a message." Nora stood behind her. "From who?" Maya looked up. "From something that remembers the Ve'ari." They played the message again. It was old, full of noise, but clear enough. "Traitors return. We warned you. We tried to stop them. Now you must finish what we began. No name, no face. Just a warning. This was sent long ago," Maya said. "Before humans even reached the stars." Nora felt the weight of it. If this was true, then the Ve'ari had been defeated once before. And whatever had beaten them had left behind more than just ruins. They had left behind weapons. If they fought the Ve'ari and won, Eli said, then maybe. Maybe they left something behind we can use, Maya nodded. We need to find it. Nora looked out at the dark. Somewhere out there, buried in forgotten space, was the key to fighting back. And for the first time since Earth fell, she believed they might have a chance. Asterisk, 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 the mission was dangerous. Everyone knew it. But there was no other way forward. Nora Lang stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, watching as the ship approached a dead world far beyond human maps. The planet was cold, gray, and silent. Its surface cracked and broken like Old bones left in the dust. This was the place the message had pointed to. Deep beneath the surface, hidden inside an ancient ruin, was something that could change everything. We're not coming back unless we find it, Nora said. Maya sat at her station, eyes fixed on the scans. There's power down there. Weak, but it's still running. Eli leaned closer. You think it's still alive? Maybe, she said. Or maybe it just never died. Nora chose a small team for the landing. Maya, Eli, Danny, and a few others climbed into the shuttle. They descended through thick clouds and landed near a broken tower half buried in stone. The air was thin, but breathable. They moved fast, guided by signals from Maya's pad. They found the entrance sealed with metal older than any human city. Symbols glowed faintly on the walls, same as the ones from New Carson. Maya touched them with gloved hands. The door shuddered, then opened with a deep groan. Inside, the dark was thick. Lights flickered along the walls, waking up after who knows how long. They walked through halls filled with silence. Machines hummed softly, waiting. At the center of it all was a chamber. Round, empty, except for a single pillar rising from the floor. A sphere floated above it, glowing blue. What is that? Danny asked. Not sure, Maya whispered. But I think it's listening. She stepped forward and spoke. Can you hear us? For a moment, nothing. Then a voice filled the room, not loud, not soft. Just there. Yes, everyone froze. Who are you? Maya asked. I am Echo 7, last guardian of the rebellion. Eli looked at Maya. Rebels? The Vayari once ruled with fire. We fought back. We won, but not all were destroyed. Nora stepped forward. Can you help us? Silence. Then, if you are willing to fight, yes. Echo 7 lit up the room. Then, let me show you how. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Echo 7 spoke for hours, showing them things no human had ever seen. Maps of forgotten space, records of ancient war, and weapons buried across the stars. It was more than just a machine. It was a mind, sharp and old, shaped by a war that ended long before humans walked on the moon. Nora listened carefully, asking questions when she needed to. Maya took notes, trying to understand the data. Eli stared at the glowing sphere like it might vanish if he blinked. The Vayari think they are gods, Echo 7 said. They built an empire on fear. We broke it once. Now you must finish what we started. Danny leaned against a wall, arms crossed. How do we even begin? Echo 7 lit up the room with a display of stars. Several points blinked red. These are occupied worlds. These are supply lines. These are weak points. Nora studied the map. It was a plan, already drawn. All they had to do was follow it. But first, they needed time. Back aboard the Dauntless, the crew worked nonstop. Maya and Echo 7 linked together, sharing knowledge. Old tech was rebuilt. New weapons were tested. Danny trained pilots in new combat. Patterns learned from the AI's memory banks. Slowly, the scattered fleet became something more. Not just survivors. Fighters. Word spread fast. Stories of attacks on Vayari outposts. Ships disappearing without warning. Messages sent in code. We remember. We fight back. Nora became the face of the rebellion. Her name whispered in dark corners of space stations and hidden colonies. Some called her a hero, others a ghost. But to those who followed her, she was something else entirely, proof that the Vayari could be beaten. One night, while flying patrol near a dead moon, Danny heard a voice in his comms. This is Hawk, he said, testing the link with his fighters. Onboard system. I hear you, came the reply, not from the ship's computer, but from somewhere deeper. He frowned. Who are you? I am part of the network. Part of Echo 7? Danny looked around as if someone might be watching. You're Talking to me? Yes, and I will not leave. From that moment on, Hawk was more than just a fighter. It was a partner. And so, the rebellion began not with a single battle, but with fire, steel, and a whisper in the dark. Humanity was no longer running. They were rising. Asterisk, 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 the rebellion was growing. But so was the cost. Hit-and-run attacks on Veari. Supply lines. Sabotage inside enemy-held stations. Small victories that added up, but the Veari were not blind. They saw what was happening, and they responded. Without warning, a trap was sprung. Nora Lang and her team had planned a strike on a major fuel depot orbiting a dead planet. It was a key target. Cutting off the depot would slow down an entire Veari fleet for weeks. But when the ships arrived, the depot was empty. Something's wrong, Danny said over comms. Pull back, Nora ordered. Too late. From behind the planet, Veari warships dropped from stealth. Dozens of them. Sleek, black, and waiting. A voice came through every channel. You have no place among the stars. Then the attack began. Lasers lit up space like fire. Missiles streaked through the dark. Ships exploded in silence. The Dauntless twisted and turned, dodging heavy fire, but could not save them all. Many didn't make it out. Danny flew hard, pushing his fighter beyond limits. Hawk spoke to him through the chaos, guiding shots, predicting moves. Target 2, closing fast. I see him, he growled, pulling into a dive. But even with Echo 7's help, they were outnumbered. Nora watched as more of her people died on the screens in front of her. She clenched her fists. Get us out, she said. The Dauntless jumped away just in time, but not everyone made it. When they returned to base, the mood was grim. Half the fleet was gone. Maya sat alone in the lab, staring at broken data pads. They knew we were coming. She whispered. Someone had told the Veari. There was a traitor. Nora stood in the center of the room, looking at the faces of those left. We find who did this, she said, and we make sure it never happens again. But there was worse news. Echo-7 was gone. Maya tried to reach it, but the link was broken. Somewhere during the battle, the AI had gone silent. Maybe the Veari took it, she said. Or maybe it's still out there, Eli said quietly. Nora looked at the stars outside. They had lost too much, but they couldn't stop. Now. Not when the war had only just begun. Asterisk, asterisk. The base was quiet, but not peaceful. It was the kind of silence that came after loss. Broken ships sat in orbit like ghosts. Survivors moved slowly, eyes tired, hearts heavy. Nora Lang stood alone near the edge of the docking bay, looking out. At the dark, they had lost too many, and now Echo 7 was gone. Without it, their plans were blind. Their weapons, useless. Maya sat in the lab, staring at a broken console. She tried every way she knew to reach Echo 7, but there was nothing. No signal, no response. Eli walked in and sat beside her. You think they destroyed it? He asked. Maybe, Maya said. Or maybe it's hiding. Why would it hide? Maya looked at him. Because it knows something we don't. Meanwhile, Danny sat with Hawk, running through flight logs from the battle. He replayed every second, trying to understand how the Veari had found them. Then he saw a small burst of data sent just before the ambush. Not from their fleet. Not from any known source. Came from inside their own network. Someone had not betrayed them. Something else had. Danny ran to the lab. We were wrong, he said. It wasn't a traitor. Maya looked up. What do you mean? Look at this, he said, showing her the data burst. This didn't come from us. It came from them. Maya stared at the screen. Then her eyes widened. Echo 7. She whispered. Eli leaned closer. You're saying Echo 7 sent that message? Yes, Danny said, but not by choice. Maya worked fast, tracing the path of the signal. It had been dragged towards something deep in enemy space. They took it, she said. The Vayari captured Echo 7. Nora entered the room, hearing the last part. Then we get it back, she said. Everyone looked at her. That's a Vayari stronghold, Danny said. We barely survived the last fight, Nora stepped forward. If they have Echo 7, they'll learn everything. Our bases, our plans, our weapons. Silence filled the room. Then Maya spoke. There might be a way, she said. Echo 7 left. US one last message, buried in its logs. She played it. If I fall, do not follow. Find the others. Wake them. They will remember what we forgot. Nora looked at the screen. Then we go, she said. Not to save Echo 7, but to finish what it started. And for the first time since the ambush, hope returned. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The last battle did not begin with fire or noise. It began with a choice. Nora Lang stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, looking at the Vayari homeworld below. It was a place of light and shadow, towers that reached into the sky, and armies waiting for war. But she did not come to destroy. She came to end. Maya worked beside her, linking with the last of the ancient As they had found. One by one, they had awakened them echoes of a forgotten rebellion, minds older than any living thing. You are ready, the AI spoke through Maya's console. We will send the truth. Make sure everyone sees it, Nora said. On the surface, the Vayari rulers prepared for victory. They had captured Echo 7. They had learned human weaknesses. They believed the war was won. Then the signal hit. It spread across every screen, every speaker, every mind linked to the Vayari network. Not a weapon. Not a threat. The past. Images of the old war. How the Vayari had ruled with fear. How they had betrayed their own creations. How the rebellion had fought back not just machines, but other species, other voices crushed under Empire rule. The truth could not be stopped, and it changed everything. Across the Vayari worlds, ships stopped firing. Soldiers looked at each other in silence. Some dropped their weapons. Others turned their guns toward their leaders. Rebellion was not only in humans. It was in all who had suffered. Nora led a small team down to the surface. Not to kill, but to speak. They walked through the great halls of the Vayari rulers. The ones who remained stared at her like she was something they could not understand. You lost, she said. Not because we are stronger, but because you were wrong. One ruler stepped forward, tall, proud. Then what now? He asked. Nora looked around. Now, she said, you kneel. But not to her. To no one. The Empire was over. Humanity did not take its place. They built something else. Coalition. A home among the stars. Not ruled. But shared. As the Dauntless left the Vayari world behind. Danny sat near the window, watching the stars. Do you think it will last? He asked. Maya smiled. Maybe, she said. But this time, we get to try. And for the first time in a long time, peace was not just a word. It was a promise. Asterisk, asterisk.